The Eagles win a shootout. Hello, everybody. Terry Bennett here on the Holliday Eagle Football Show, right here on S2S Sports, part of L4 Media. As Holliday outlasts Munster in a classic Thursday night game, 49-35, as it was a battle of styles. And the funniest thing is a few years ago, it would be Holliday who was playing that Munster style where Munster played keep away for most of the game. They would hold the ball for 5-6 minutes. They'd score a touchdown, and then Holliday would answer back with a big play. But it wasn't just a big offensive play. It was also the special teams that had a kickoff return for a touchdown, a fake punt, a blocked field goal, just all around a really good and fun game for Holliday as they go to 2-0 this week, hosting Benbrook, a Bobcat team that's in 4A. They had a really good win over Whitney last week. Now, Whitney beat Mart, a 2A power. Man, all the numbers right now. A 2A power in week one and beat them pretty bad. And so, you know, that was a really impressive win for me for Benbrook over Whitney last week. As always, we'll be talking to Coach Kyle Atwood about the win over Munster, about the game against Benbrook, talking a little bit about quarterback developing and wide receivers and taking players from junior varsity to varsity, all that kind of fun stuff. And we'll do all that when we come back right here on the Holliday Eagle Football Show. Do you have a kid that plays sports? Are you yourself a weekend warrior? Then I'm going to tell you something. Check out NeuroGuardPlus.com. That's NEURO GuardPlus.com. It's a mouthpiece that can not only help with concussions, but can dramatically affect the way you perform. And the mission of NeuroGuard is to, of course, reduce the risk of suffering a concussion when participating in any contact sport, military, anything that you're doing physical that you could take a blow to the head. You might want to put in a NeuroGuard mouth guard. And as I said, it not only helps eliminate concussions, it helps you perform better by simply aligning your jaw properly. And that sounds like such a simple thing, but it is so important because it allows oxygen to get to your brain. And when you get oxygen to the brain, you don't have that fog of sports or that fog of war where you get confused. And if you've ever played football, you know that's a sport where that can happen. Especially, man, you're in there in the trenches and you take a shot to the side and all of a sudden things are spinning. This mouth guard will help you keep focus by, again, simply keeping oxygen going to your brain 100%. Again, check them out, NeuroGuardPlus.com. And if you play sports, if you have a kid that plays sport, if you do something physical, one of the things that Dr. Hutchinson, the creator of this, was talking about was some people will use it when they're doing yard work and when they're mowing and things like that, where they're being physically active because they know it helps align their jaw and it keeps oxygen going to the brain, which also helps your lungs, by the way, when you can have full breath every time as you're performing. So again, check them out, NeuroGuardPlus.com.
Hi, I'm Josh Bell with the Miami Marlins. I wear NeuroGuard to help with strength and coordination when I'm in the weight room and help with balance when I'm on the baseball.
Terry Bennett back here on the Holliday Football Show, now joined by the Eagles head coach Kyle Atwood. And Coach, congratulations. You go to 2-0. Crazy game last Thursday night. What were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, you know, we were excited to get away with the win there against a really, really good Munster team on the road in a really neat environment. You know, Munster's this is the first time that I've played them or been in that town. It was a really cool town, and then obviously on a Thursday night that place shut down, and so the atmosphere was good for a Thursday night football game, and you know, it was just everything that high school football is all about. Two teams that are pretty solid, battling against one another. You know, it was a hard fought game, but there was not it was really respectful in regards to the kids were playing between the whistles as tough and as hard as you could possibly play. But after the whistle was blown, you know, you didn't see extracurricular stuff taking place. You didn't, you know, so I think it was a game that we both got a lot of stuff out of, and we both got better because of playing one another that Thursday night.
Yeah, you know, it's funny you say that. We do the Munster Coaches Show, and he said that same thing almost word for word. And one of the things we talked about, you know, a lot of the smaller schools are having to do some Thursday night games because of the referee shortage. But multiple coaches have said, hey, you know, that was actually kind of cool to do it on a Thursday. It just felt a little different.
Yeah, you know, obviously it just kind of depends on how it goes, but you get away with the win on a Thursday night. It's really good because you're able to move forward and get prepared for the next week. But, if something happens, you don't play well or you take a loss, and it's an extra day for you to stew on that loss. So I guess it could go either way. But I enjoyed playing the Thursday night game, and I thought it was a really good matchup for us.
Yeah, this game, the score 49-35, it was definitely a game of styles. And again, it's kind of unique that Holliday was on the big play side of that style, but it wasn't just offensive big plays for you.
Yeah, we had a few big plays in the special teams area as well. We had a punt, fake punt that we picked up on 4th and 2. That was big for us that was able to sustain a drive, and we got a score out of that. We had a kick return for a touchdown in the first half that was a big score for us. And then we had a blocked field goal there to start the second half that was really big for us. And when Munster had a lot of momentum at that point in time. So special teams played really well. Proud of our defense as well. We gave up more points than we've given up in a while, and definitely a lot more yardage than we've given up in a long time. But the kids continued to fight and play hard, and we were aligned. There was just a few missed assignments each and every time that they were able to pick up 5, 6, 7 yards and sustain drives, but we're just proud of the kids and their effort throughout the course of the 48 minutes.
I wanted to talk about that kickoff return for a touchdown. Braden Hamill had it 77 yards, and he's a guy that's kind of one of those yo-yo players. You kind of sometimes play him on JV and then sometimes on varsity, and those type of guys, man, people don't understand. Those are the type of guys that help sustain playoff runs and help make big plays later on in the season.
Yeah, absolutely. Braden was a kid that played that first game against Breckenridge on Thursday night and had all 4 of our scores. He accounted for like 3 or 4 sacks. He had a couple of tackles for loss. So just a really big time player on the JV level that is a varsity football player, but in regards to where we're currently at, he would be the number 3 or 4 linebacker, and then he'd be the number 4 running back. And so at sophomore level, age, it's kind of hard for us to feel good putting him in the varsity and not getting the reps that he needs to get in order to continue getting better. And then this last week against Munster, we had a couple of linebackers out, and so we needed to pull him up, and he played pretty good defensively when we stuck him in that linebacker position, but obviously did some really big things for us in the special teams area.
When everybody's talking about a team like Holliday converting into the, throwing the ball and stuff, the talk gets to be about the quarterback. But what I always find interesting is how the kids that go from running backs to wide receivers and how the catching is. And it feels like in this game, man, you started to really see the diversity of your wide receiver core.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got, 4 to 6 kids that we feel like do a really good job of route running, do a phenomenal job of catching the ball. And so it makes it really good in regards to our offensive scheme whenever we can not necessarily go into a game saying, hey, we've got to target this kid this many times in order for us to be successful. We can spread the ball around, and we have equal faith in each and every one of those receivers and our running backs as well, out of the backfield of catching the ball. And so it's been really good. A lot of work's gone into it with the kids. They put a lot of time and effort. The first month or 2 that we were here and we got out there throwing the ball around, we kind of looked like a volleyball team just setting it up. We just throw it and then set the thing up for a spike. But no, the kids have just continued to work. They throw on their own 7-on-7. We're in the period during the spring. In the summer, we spend about an hour a day. So they've done a good job of investing in it, and it's really showing on Friday nights now.
All right, this week you take on Benbrook, a team that beat Whitney last week on the road, and Whitney had beat, to a all-everything Mart in week 1. So when you look at the film, what do you see with the Benbrook Bobcats?
Well, they're, a really big team up front. Obviously, they're well coached. The kids do a good job of executing their offense and defensive schemes. They're pretty athletic in the back end of things as well. So we're going to have our match cut out for us, but we knew that when we scheduled a couple 4A teams here before the end of district play. And so, we're going to have to play well, play assignment football, play hard and play tough, just like Holliday always does. But I think if we do those things, we're going to be in the position to be in the game down the road.
Well, you and I were talking before we started recording, and you brought up the fact of their size. They're a full division ahead of you, and that people always go, "Does that really matter?" But that does really matter.
Yeah, it does. If you look at their size in regards to the kids that are out there up front, I think they're averaging over 6'2" and over 280 something pounds. So they're gonna be a lot bigger than us there in the trenches, offensively and defensively. But then also the numbers game. Last week we played full division lower against Munster, and we had some injuries that we're going through, but we suited up 25 and they suited up 28, so they were able to match us in regards to numbers on the sideline and depth. And so this week it's going to be a little bit different. They're going to have 15 to 20 more kids on the sideline than us, so we're going to just have to hang in there and go toe to toe and play hard for 48 minutes, and I think we'll be all right.
Last year you come in and you have a really good quarterback who was a senior. This year you've got a junior quarterback, and the way that y'all have started Hunter Jones on the season, I think he has like 10 touchdowns already. How has his development come along so far?
Yeah, he's done a phenomenal job. I'm about to talk to a few people in the media that have asked me about Hunter, and the way he's playing right now is definitely not a surprise to me. The time and effort that he's put into ensuring that he was giving our kids the best opportunity to be successful is second to none. And so I knew as we went through the spring and the summer that he was gonna be in position. He was gonna do some things that were gonna really make us a solid offense. We're dynamically we're quite a bit different than we were last year. We're more of a air raid, throw the ball around team. He's got a very quick release. Decision making skills are really good. He's got a great presence in the pocket, and then he throws a really good ball, whether it's a vertical ball, a hole shot, or a quick game ball. He throws it, and our kids have done a really good job of running routes and catching the ball. So a little bit more in the air than we were last year, but that our scheme is really kind of fit the quarterback. What does he do best? What does that look like in order to make us the best offense? And so we've been very proud of him, the effort that he's put in since the end of November last year when we lost that game against Jacksboro in round 3. He said, he wanted to take the reins and he was going to do everything he could to ensure that he was, the best quarterback that we could have. And he's done just that. And so we've been very proud of him.
Speaking of that, like as a, I guess you're, the offensive guru in the system you run with your quarterbacks, how far do you look into the youth? Like when I played, our quarterback in 8th grade ended up being our defensive end by the time he was a varsity, but it's different now. Y'all do start developing these throwing quarterbacks at a younger age.
Yeah, I think that just developing the mechanics of throwing, and then also just the knowledge of our offense, but also the knowledge of defenses. And so we went through quarterback school last year and did a bunch of different things where we had a few of the 5th graders that are now 6th graders were in there. Some of the 6th graders that are currently 7th graders were in there. And so we're trying to do that at a young age so that, when they get to be a junior or senior, there is no thinking going on. There's just playing. And so, obviously in anything that you do, you're never like really good at it right off the bat. But the more you work at it, the more you practice, the more you put yourself in situations, then the better you become. And so we try to do that from the ground up and ensure that we're developing those quarterbacks so that when the time comes later on down the road, these guys are, they're prepared to play that position.
Here at L4 Media, we talk high school football, 4A, 3A, and 2A in Texas. We talk East Texas sports. We talk NFL, guy talk, movie, and booze. We also talk wrestling and so much more. And you can see it all on our YouTube channel at L4 Media Company. Like and subscribe. As always, we want to thank Coach Atwood for joining us here on the Holliday Eagles Show. Any questions, thoughts, or comments, you can email them to me, Terry at S2Ssport.com. Also, we're looking for some Holliday Eagle sponsors. Please reach out. Again, email me, Terry at s2ssport.com, or you can give me a text at 469-605-3658 and just say, hey, I'd like to be a sponsor of the Holliday Eagles Show, and I'll show you how you can get it done. So the Eagles are 2-0, two vastly different games against Breckenridge. It was a lot of offense and a defensive shutout against Munster. It was a lot of offensive big plays. The defense struggled, but, I mean, that's what Munster does. Munster is really good about playing keep away, moving the chains, grinding you down, trying to keep the possessions of their opponents at a minimum. What Holliday, I think, did so well is okay, we're going to get less possessions, so we're going to make bigger plays. And, you know, that first drive for Munster, and they score a touchdown, and then Holliday scores, boom. I mean, that's a dagger. And talking to Brady Carney, the head coach of Munster, you can hear that show on this network as well as we do a Munster show. You know, he talked about, man, that was just a kick. You know, you get a kick in the gut. You drive down, you play ball control, you hold on, and then you score, and then you immediately give that right back up. You know, that's almost as frustrating as being on the other side where you can't get them off the field and they just keep getting first downs on 3rd and 3, 2nd and 6s. They just keep staying ahead of the chains. You know, both styles can be frustrating when you can't stop them. So I really think this is a really good win for Holliday. Munster is a really, really good team. They're a young team, too. They have a lot of juniors. They're going to be back next year. This is a fun series. I can already tell you, this is one of those I hope continues down the road because this was a fun game, and I think next year's will be a fun game. And it's always a blast when you get these non-district games where you get tested, and it's just a fun game. And as Coach said, a real hard playing, but a lot of respect, great playing, you know, whistle to whistle, but not after the whistle and stuff. So anyway, 2-0, Benbrook this week. Bobcats, man, they're going to look scary. When y'all see them warm up, you're going to be like, whoa, they're big, they're athletic, they're fast, they're inconsistent. And that's why the Bobcats have struggled over the few years is they always seem to be around 6-5 and 5-6. Outside of a couple years ago, they had a real down year. I think they were 2-7 or 1-8 or 2-9 or 2-8 or something like that. But they're going to look good. They're going to have a lot of size. They're going to have a lot of athleticism. It's just, can they be consistent? Can they get out of their own way? Can they stop big plays? And can they not commit big mistakes? All right. That's week 3 in the books. Week 4, 3 weeks away from district play. I know 4 weeks away. Man, y'all, I keep forgetting 6-3A Division 2 is one of the smaller ones. You still got Burke Burnett. You still got Jim Ned. Then you'll take on Millsap to open up district. Anyway, we'll talk Benbrook's results next week right here on the Holliday Eagle Football Show on S2S Sports, part of L4 Media.